I don't think summon stones should be in Classic WoW. Because part of the core experience of Classic WoW is that dumbass hunter that never left Stormwind. All of you guys, you're 4-man and you made it to Strat Undead, and that dumbass hunter is still looking for the bullet vendor. And he's walking all over the city. He has no idea where to buy bullets. He's just stalling your group. And you're like, bro, are you stupid? Just go, just come out here, please. I don't care, just melee. Get the frick out to, like, you know what I'm saying? That's a core experience. That's how you get those memories. And you're like, dude, do you remember how dumb that hunter was last time? We had to kick him because he never found the bullet vendor. I don't think summon stones should be in Classic WoW.
To a point, yeah. I mean, like, it's an interesting discussion because when it comes to like summon stones and convenience in game, it does make the gameplay loop a lot better, right? Even if you have that retarded hunter right there, you can still bring them, right? Or you can just kick them and find another hunter or another rogue or another whatever to like come to the dungeon, and you can just summon them, and it saves you time for having to deal with AFKs like this. Because it happens all the time, like you're like, oh, it's gonna take 30 minutes to get there, you get your group together, everybody starts heading there, one guy's AFK. 5, 10, 15 minutes, and then you gotta kick them, hope there's a warlock summon available for them to buy, or find a warlock in your group to help summon them maybe. It is a core mental experience, a core mental memory when it does come to like summoning stones and like the inconvenience of Classic WoW, Vanilla WoW created memories. Quality of life kills that memory creating facility, that memory creating ability, because at the end of the day, when you add quality of life to the game, what ends up happening is it simplifies the gameplay loop and stops that friction from creating dynamic events that lead to friendship, that lead to memory, that lead to storytelling. Quality of life makes sure there's no friction. So the dynamicness of the world, of people being stupid, of people doing dumb things, is removed from the equation because the quality of life solves it for you. And in my personal opinion, I agree with him on a fundamental level that things like summoning stones should be disabled for that storytelling, for the way people play. But with warlock summons, with all the people just like the warlock bots sitting there and summoning across the world 24/7, and all of these like convenience factors built into the game by the players themselves, I don't think it works in the modern day and age. And I think for Classic Plus, for Classic Plus, they should just add summoning stones. Because if they don't, you're just gonna have warlock summoners at every location summoning people regardless. In Season of Discovery, there were quite literally warlock summons for every single phase from the beginning till the end. There were warlock summons in phase 1. There were warlock summons in phase 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 phase, and we didn't get a phase 9 though. So across the board, if you remove that quality of life, that convenient, the players will create the convenience. They'll create the quality of life. They'll create the metrics to make the quality of life happen on their own terms. And the player-made version, in my opinion, is drastically, and I'm not even saying this casually, like drastically, genuinely 10 times worse than the summoning stones themselves. The summoning stones, you know, yes, it's not classic. The quality, it makes life easier, and you need that friction to make Classic WoW Classic WoW. But at the end of the day, the players are going to create the convenience without the quality, regardless of Blizzard's intentions here. The only thing Blizzard can do is mitigate the experience and do it themselves in a way that doesn't like break the ethos and spirit of Classic, assuming they listen to the Classic players and give the quality of life features people are asking for, instead of just like shoehorning random shit in for the sake of quality of life. So I recently played Midnight WoW, right? I went in there, I went on open-minded, I didn't want to hate the game. I played a bit on stream, but I played mostly off stream. And from my perspective of Classic player, Retail WoW is a good game. But it's not an MMO for me, I guess, is the best way to put it. I don't think it's a bad game by any mean or any whatsoever. I just think, as me, as a Classic player, I couldn't get into it because the content I enjoy in Retail is mostly max level Mythic Plus or, you know, raiding. And what I ended up realizing was, a lot of people say Retail WoW is a single player game. Retail WoW is like you gotta play single player. You don't need a community. If you play, you know, if you like, you know, it's an ARPG. And I actually think that's wrong. I think there is people that play like that, but I think Retail WoW is a bad game if you go into it without a friend group. I think playing Retail WoW by yourself is one of the saddest things you can do when the game is genuinely really good with friends. The issue is, I don't have a community to play Retail WoW with. And you know, it's just I don't want to blame the game for my shortcomings of being willing to go out of my way to have a friend group. Whereas in Classic, you know, I have multiple content creators who are my friends, yada yada yada. Like in the retail scene, it's completely different. Almost none of my content creator friends even bothered to play retail. So I was playing alone, right? I was playing the game alone, and I realized that the times I had fun with the War Within was when I was playing with a bunch of content creators like Noah Jerome, San Medina, Mincy, when everybody jumped in and started actually enjoying the game. I think if you write off retail WoW solely because of whatever reason, you're allowed to. I don't want to say you have to like retail WoW. But I do think the argument that a lot of Classic players and a lot of Classic fans use of retail WoW as a bad game, terrible game, Blizzard bad, Blizzard this. I mean, yeah, you can still say Blizzard is bad, right? They've done a lot of dumb things in the past. I don't think saying retail WoW is a bad game is a valid statement anymore. But I do think you're allowed to say retail WoW is not for me. And I think that is a genuinely valid statement that you can make and be legitimate about. Because, again, I'm not saying, like, you know, I've maxed several characters, I've got to the full end game, yada yada yada, fully finished everything. But for me, I think retail WoW is not an MMO for me as of right now. And I will go in at the max level once I get there off stream. You know, hit max level, start doing Mythic Plus, start doing doing raiding and stuff. And I still don't think it's a game for me, and that's okay. Not everything has to be for everybody, right? That's a big argument Classic places, like, you know, they should make Classic Plus for the Classic Andes. Or who is Classic WoW even for, yada yada yada, like who's playing Mr. Pandaria. I think it's okay to have variety and option, and be willing to admit that a game just isn't for you, and that's okay. And I think, like, if more Classic Andes were willing to admit that, I think it would be okay. Retail WoW is a bad game, and any game that charges a box price, a sub, and sells in-game items on top of it is a bad game. You know what? Valid statement. If a box price and a sub and an in-game store, you know what? Fucking egregious. I agree with you. You know what? That's a valid take, John. I'm not even mad about that take. I think it's an absolutely valid base take, and I think that's okay. This tank did a really wild pull. I don't know why he did that pull, but you know what? It's fine. I'm silenced for 3 more seconds. But that you know what? That's one of the most valid takes I've ever heard, John. That's absolutely, like, valid. I have nothing against that. I can't criticize that. I think it's valid as shit. Yo, you got a fair fucking point. You got a fair fucking point. And I have full hit, and even soul shattering wasn't enough to save me. Ah, fuck. I backed into it. God damn it. Can I feel this motherfucker? No, I can't. Whew, that's on me. You know, fuck it. That's on me. Whatever. But the whole point I'm saying is... Retail WoW was not a bad game. I think Retail WoW is a perfectly acceptable game. It's just not a great game for somebody like myself. And as more people are willing to admit that and stop shitting on the game for the sake of its gameplay loop, because the retail player base loves the gameplay loop. They love that shit. They adore it. It's just not for everybody. And that's okay. It has a free-to-play light feel whilst also having a sub and box price. But the retail player base is happy. That's the thing I'm trying to say here is the retail player base is genuinely happy, and I don't think they've been happier in a long time. I mostly hear about how happy and how excited they are for Midnight WoW, whereas a lot of the Classic player base shits on retail saying Midnight WoW bad, Midnight WoW this, yada yada yada. And I think we should like accept that the retail player base is happy with the game they got. And we're unhappy because, you know, we don't have Classic Plus or yada yada, like whatever the reasoning. So as Classic players, it's okay to not like it, but I think we just gotta accept that not everything is for us, and if the retail players are happy, let them be happy. We can shit on Blizzard, but I don't think we should be shitting on retail WoW anymore. Because I mean, there's like 6-7 million people playing retail. Like, they can't all be fucking wrong.